of Indian Chamber of Commerce, I would like to express my great honor in welcoming our chief guest for today's evening's event, Srimati Smriti Zubin Irani, Honorable Minister for Textiles and Women and Child Development, Government of India. Madam, thank you for gracing this virtual session. Ladies and gentlemen, we have moved on from a phase of fear and uncertainty to a phase of planning a new way to fight the crisis created by COVID. Every single sector of the industry has been affected, and we cannot lose any further time to plan and come out with a solution to not just fight this crisis, but also turn it into an opportunity and make our country Atma-Nirbhar. India's textile sector is the second largest employment generator in the country and the fifth largest exporter of textiles and apparel in the world. The halting of operations for nearly 2 months due to lockdowns has severely affected the sector, but we as humans are the most resilient species, and we are already on the way to revive the textile sector. The textile industry, with the support of the government, has been working on creating more demand, not just in the markets which we catered to, but also in markets which were earlier catered by other countries. Gandhiji said, action expresses priorities. And the priority right now is to adapt to the change. Necessity, as they say, is the mother of all invention. In the midst of this present uncertainty, industry players and entrepreneurs are discovering new and innovative means of operation. While the fallout from the crisis is both amplifying familiar risk and creating new ones, change at this scale also creates new openings for managing systemic challenges and ways to steadily build back businesses with the new normal. Due to the pandemic, businesses and supply chains are witnessing a drastic shift from traditional products to new ones, such as PPEs, N95 masks, technical textiles, etc. India has become the second largest manufacturer of PPE in the world in a very short time. This is a commendable feat. Although the revival might be slow, owing to the impact of the pandemic globally, we are certain that if the issues faced by the industry are addressed timely and the path ahead is planned systematically, the reality of Atma-Nirbhar Bharat is not too distant. We all have to gear up and take this opportunity to build a path, keeping in mind that no nation can fully isolate itself from the world economy. With these few words, I would again like to welcome our Honorable Minister for Textiles, Mrs. Irani, and look forward to fruitful deliberation and interactions. With that few words, can I now call upon Mr. Sanjay Jain, who heads our Textile Committee for Indian Chamber of Commerce, for a few words from him, and then we would look forward to hearing from Madam Minister. Sanjay ji, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayank, for your welcome address. And thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. A very, very good evening to you, ma'am. I have had the honor and privilege to work for ma'am for many, many years. And I can truly say that she is a true guardian of the industry. And whenever we have ever needed her, the promptness with which she has always come forward, even if it was not directly in her power, she has written, she has represented. I even remember cases where she has taken us to the parliament to meet other ministers so that we could address and directly share our concerns of the industry. Ma'am, as much thanks as I may say to you would be less. However, needless to say, ma'am, thank you very much for all the support during the post-COVID times. And Mr. Mayank, you would not know the instrumental role ma'am has played directly to get this PPE thing off the... I've had the privilege of knowing the way flights have been organized, from getting up samples from Punjab onto Coimbatore by special flights, to somehow manage and get this PPE wonder which has happened, which the whole world is now talking about, of the Indian textile industry. A very significant role and blessing has been done by the Ministry of Textiles under the guidance of Honorable Minister. Ma'am, thank you very much, and that has helped us in getting some business and keeping many of the units working and running, ma'am. As ma'am, you already are aware, but to do my duty, it's my duty to tell you, ma'am, of how bad the situation is for the textile and clothing industry within the country. In fact, it started off and we were pleasantly surprised, certain segments, due to the pent-up demand, ma'am, which came from the rural and semi-urban areas in late May and June. However, with the spate of lockdowns, ma'am, which have again now started, the rural and semi-urban areas are now equally impacted as much as the urban areas, ma'am. And so even the low-end products which were moving have also stopped and have come down to about 50% of what we were seeing in June. And it's feared that August is going to be no better. In fact, there are certain sections of the industry, ma'am, which are just running at 20-25%. And there are certain sections which have gone up to 70-75%. So we have a wide range of variants based on who can, how they are placed, in which segment they are placed, and how the export market has treated different segments, ma'am. We all know, ma'am, also I wanted to thank you for the timely decision for Cotton Corporation of India to bring down the prices. Otherwise, the industry would have gone into a further big problem if this had not happened timely. It came at the right time, and hence cotton prices in India could stay in line with international prices. And ma'am, we hope this consistent policy will follow through, because we see another bumper crop coming in, and you're going to have a huge crop, and we need to take advantage of this and change this country into exporting a much larger share, as what we have done in the last 2 to 3 years, so that the cotton can be used for value addition in yarn, fabric, and garments. Ma'am, I would also like to bring in some issues which, as soon as people knew that you were going to be addressing us, I was flooded from all across the country with various queries, various issues. Some of them will be raising and sharing their own questions. And I know you always love interactive sessions more than simple monologues. So after hearing you briefly, we will have questions and answers. But ma'am, I'd just like to flag off a few issues which I saw coming from many quarters. Firstly, people are very much concerned, ma'am, about cotton. People are just looking for a consistent policy so that they can plan how they're going to export, how they're going to utilize this excess cotton, surplus cotton in the country, so that the farmers and right up to the value chain gain out of this big crop. Ma'am, but the MMF, which is now the big thing, and it's well accepted, is going to be the next big story for India to go forward. There's a big concern of dumping happening from all countries across who are very strong in MMF as against us. I know a lot of discussions are happening on how to protect the domestic industry, ma'am. My only request is winter season is coming in very fast and production has already started in India in whatever best possible way. We need to take a fast decision on this so that we stay competitive and the domestic industry can manufacture and use its capacities.
MMF issue has been addressed in the budget.
Yes, ma'am, you have, ma'am, I know. But there are still imports happening of certain things. I know the PTA thing was a revolutionary thing, unimagined thing. None of the industry people.
If you're talking about Nylon Spinners Association and their angst, I would rather get settled through the Department of Revenue.
Yes,
but be mindful that for us, the interest of over 1.5 lakh weavers is supreme.
Of course,
ma'am.
Not
two companies which strangulate the raw material supply chain.
Yeah. No, ma'am, I'm actually more concerned about the fact.
10 people versus 10 lakh people.
Yeah, no, ma'am, definitely, ma'am. The 10 lakh people have to be first serviced, and in today's world, it's even more important to have it, ma'am. Ma'am, secondly, again, I know it's I don't want to say it, but I'm just repeating it. Tough subsidies, people are very concerned. I know you know about it.
No, let me because like you rightfully said, Sanjay ji, I hate monologues.
Yes.
Let me answer each question as you present.
Okay, ma'am.
So as far as stuffs goes, we are very clear. If the paperwork is absolutely clear, and given that JIT has happened, since the lockdown, the pandemic has hit operations and movement of officers, we have said that if you give a bank guarantee, we are happy to release the subsidy.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The issue is companies that don't want to give the bank guarantee need to be cognizant of the fact that this money is the taxpayers' money.
Yes.
It cannot flow freely without paperwork.
Yes, ma'am. 100% true, ma'am. I am aware of this bank guarantee
But I want to also reiterate The left out cases from the blackout period will not be paid.
Yeah, that's okay. That's accepted, ma'am. We know it.
A lot of the angst is from 10 years ago.
Ma'am, the concern more is people who have submitted papers, but their JIT could not happen. And now, unfortunately, it's not.
Lockdown, and knowing that there is a lockdown, you know that JIT is not possible. Right now.
Yeah. So, ma'am, that was the request. If there's some way of bank guarantee for those cases, ma'am, if you could consider.
That cannot happen, Sanjay ji. Given that we have to work within the purviews of the CBC guidelines.
No, obviously, ma'am, if it's possible.
No can break the law.
Obviously not.
Even if there is a pandemic.
Yes. Ma'am, also, ma'am, this whole COVID thing has thrown a big opportunity, ma'am, for us to take sizable market share from some of our competitors across the globe, ma'am. Without naming anyone, ma'am, Can I say
something to that?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Your chamber and you, Sanjay ji, and all the textile leaders who have joined us today, were witness to the fact that for 3 years, I pursued the industry to give importance and impetus to technical textiles.
Yes.
If we are honest today in this webinar, we need to recognize that for 3 years, I did not get support.
Correct, ma'am. I agree.
It took a pandemic for the industry to do a turnaround in 2 months.
I agree, ma'am. I agree.
The industry needs to introspect how many such opportunities have we not commercialized? And why do we always wait for a crisis?
Ma'am, point is fully taken and I know it very well.
The other aspect, when you talk about without naming the competitor.
Yes.
How many of us are still through the SAFTA route? Taking fabric which we know has not been produced in Bangladesh.
We are.
We can be honest.
No, ma'am. You know better than me, ma'am. My only thing is we need to find a way of stopping this so that the balance does not suffer, ma'am. It's not that everyone is taking.
People who have joined us today have done it.
Because, ma'am, still the percentage is very small. That much I can tell you. They are the numbers. If you take the numbers,
the companies are very well named. I don't want to name them.
No, ma'am, they are limited companies, but there are so many others like domestic garment manufacturers.
There is a question with regards to Tufts by Rakesh Bajaj, where he wants me to answer with regards to subsidy by government of Maharashtra. As a representative of the government of India, I can't speak on behalf of Maharashtra.
I would request all panelists to please understand that we need to ask relevant questions which pertain to her ministry or where she can recommend things to other central ministries. For state issues, you will have to talk to the state government.
Srinivasan has spoken about issues faced by the silk industry, where fabrics are getting routed through Vietnam. I want to tell Srinivasan ji that we have time and again asked industry to come up to DGFT with evidence, because you know that we have to follow WTO protocol. I again have said this for the past 4 years. I've had people express their concern, but nobody's coming with thorough numbers and position papers to Commerce Ministry where this particular issue will be dealt with.
Absolutely. I would also request all panelists who have any such issues. Today, it's not possible for anyone to work unless you have detailed workings and papers to prove your point. Just general statements will not help anyone because no action can be taken. Ma'am, apart from technical textiles, ma'am, garments, yarn, fabric, all needs, ma'am, support and push at this critical stage, ma'am, so that we can take global market share, ma'am. So I just wanted to put a request, whatever best is possible. I know ROTDP is under working, but ma'am, yarn and fabric is still out of the system. And
we have spoken about the entire value chain to Commerce Ministry.
Okay.
We await their decisions on it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ma'am, Mr. Mayank, I'll just request you now if you could take up the questions which the committee members would like to ask, and then the industry questions can follow.
Sure. So, ma'am, kind of shifting gears out of the textile department, because I'm sure that there'll be at least 50 or 100 questions that will be coming up towards you, and you'll be hitting all of them outside the ballpark. I just wanted if you could share your views and what you're gathering in the corridors of power in Delhi in terms of demand and consumption and the general economy, not textiles in specific, because we did see a good month of June. But in July, again, we are seeing a downturn in terms of consumption and uptake. So I think it would be relevant for a larger audience to see how do you see demand coming back? Do we as industry, what are the steps that we need to take going forward? And generally, how do you see the economy in the next 18 months or 24 months? Forgetting about the short term, but looking at medium and long term. Ma'am, over to you.
I'm encouraged by your opening remarks, Mayank ji, about thinking about economic prospects from a position of opportunity and not panic. And I think that underlines the way forward. When the Prime Minister gives a clarion call for Atmanirbhar Bharat and PPE suits, what Sanjay spoke about, those are elements and my remarks about why do we always wait for a crisis to commercialize our diversification prospects or commercialize our inherent talent in various segments. I think that the Prime Minister's leadership in agricultural reform will set a huge tone for transformation of the rural economy. And I think apart from the prospects, let's say in textiles, in handcraft and other segments, agriculture and agro-processing will become a big ticket item, and I am hoping for more investments in that particular segment. I also feel that technology now, once upon a time, used to be a buzzword in limited corridors of manufacturing. Today, especially if I take the example of textiles, we have an 80 to 83% segregated SME component of our industry. Can we leverage technology to ensure that we encourage shared services? Can we leverage technology to ensure that our MSME segment can better its prospects with regards to, let's say, not only the domestic manufacturing capacity, but specially help our MSME to move towards exports? Apart from that, I think that though the big players in the economy, people talk about auto, they talk about real estate, I think the revolution that the rural economy, and especially the fact that Sanjay was also buoyant about the months of May and June, which saw a huge push from the rural economy, I think that's where the next growth story is going to be witnessed. I'm cognizant of the fact that services, and especially in the restaurant, hotel business, the airline business, have taken quite a big impact. But the fact that the government, especially through the MSME segments, is proposing loans, is proposing debt restructuring, these are elements of the economic announcements by the Honorable Prime Minister that I will hope your chamber can support and help us reach to as many industries, as many business houses, or as many MSME manufacturing units as possible. I also feel that the skill sets one has seen in the pandemic, especially with regards to our services in the healthcare sector, those skill sets give us huge opportunities currently and in the future. I think our pharma companies have done a stupendous job. The race for vaccines across the world sees an Indian contribution to it as well. But I also feel that the fact that we are known for frugal technology is a fact that we should leverage as an industry, as an economy. I think given the time that we have spent in lockdown and quarantine, also gives us an opportunity to reflect on our labor movement across the country. The Prime Minister's clarion call for vocal for local should not be limited to one or two sectors only, not only to textiles, not only to handcraft, but can we do a line by line analysis as to what all can we produce locally, which gives impetus to our manufacturing capacities? For instance, People normally would come to a prestigious platform like yours and talk about aviation, talk about big data, talk about great opportunities in automobile. Can you imagine in our country, we import $24 million worth of kangi? When you look at counterfeit goods, you'll be astounded. Counterfeit goods import, according to some people, is valued at $50 billion. Now, who's doing that import? Somebody in the industry, surely. Can we encourage more and more industry that instead of importing counterfeit goods, can you look at local manufacturing processes? I mean, Sanjay is astounded by $24 million worth of kangi. But can
Seriously.
you imagine the choti wali kangi? We are importing $40 million worth of candles.
My God. Crazy
There are
numbers.
many elements in our manufacturing capacity. If we sit with some of the brightest economic minds in our country, even consultants, sit together line by line, and you will know where the opportunity lies. And that is where the Prime Minister's clarion call for Atmanirbhar Bharat can actually fructify.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
the PPE story success, the one significant aspect of it is that there was no subsidy given to the industry. Processes were streamlined. And the industry and the government partnered. How so? Sanjay spoke about us running one aircraft from Punjab to Coimbatore to get a sample tested. We ran trains. We actually ran a train to get one industry sample to Coimbatore. We ran buses. We sent cops to factory inputs and pick up samples or raw material. The first 80 manufacturers of PPE suits, 80 textile ministry officers were seated on the factory floor so that कोई अगर आके परेशान करे, कोई पूछे, तो ऑफिसर वहां पे उपलब्ध होगा ताकि इंडस्ट्री को प्रॉब्लम ना हो.
बिल्कुल.
So a lot of people presume that industry can only grow if you give subsidy. I am of the belief that the PPE suit success story is an amalgamation of the effort of the industry and the government to come together, minus
Absolutely.
subsidy. And please remember, subsidy is taxpayers' money, your money. So I think that the myopia with which we addressed our industry crisis, and I have said this again, Sanjay, and many people who have joined this conversation today know
Yes.
that every time we sit on the table with regards to, let's say, textiles, we speak about our legacy of problems, right? 30 years we've had a problem. And I've also appealed to the industry many times that when you go to an investor and you say we have 30 years of nothing but problems, do you think you'll attract investment?
No.
Why don't we ever sell our success stories? The 6,000 crore package was announced by the Prime Minister for apparel. And in front of that 6,000 crore package, there was an underlining commitment given by industry. आप 6,000 crore का हमें package दीजिए, apparel बढ़ जाएगा. When we did not see the numbers grow, we asked the industry क्या चाहिए, क्यों grow नहीं कर रहा? Industry said आप PTA से हटा दीजिए, जो shackles हैं, grow हो जाएगा. चलिए आप PTA से भी हटा दिए shackles. The good news is, Mayank, made-up sector was added later to the package. And made-ups in this past 3 years has shown a growth of 11% in India. Whereas at the world stage, it has grown at the rate of 2%. So I think that line by line, we need to see opportunities, not wait for crisis, but actually look at the diversification prospects, reorient our manufacturing process, and leverage technology to help strengthen our MSME segment. Because the competitor who is unnamed in today's conversation, that competitor grew where SMEs became mid-sized in that country and the mid-sized became large companies. So you also need to see industry-wise, where are the new players before the pandemic? The fact that I have 1,100 new players in the PPE suit segment tells you that when opportunity presents itself, even if it's an unfortunate opportunity like COVID, the industry can measure up. So the only psychological fine tuning we need to do is, should we wait for the next crisis to reorient ourselves? Or can we do it now?
Well, ma'am, I completely agree with you. And, we're very quick off the bat if we want to criticize something. I want to share a personal story over the last 3-4 months. The Honorable Commerce Minister has been doing regular reviews with all the chambers, and I've had the privilege to be a part of that. I think the current count is about 25 or 26 meetings in the last 4 months that he's conducted. And we from the food processing industry actually took up an issue of seed tubers, which was taking inordinate amount of years to actually get into the country to actually create a processed variety potato for the processing industry. The same issue got resolved within 3 weeks. I completely agree with you. Today, the opportunities that lie ahead of us and the way that the government and industry are working together to create new opportunities and a new paradigm of development in the coming years, if we don't scale new heights, I think it's really going to be on us as industry, to be honest.
And just to add, every industry forum that I've gone to, there's one point that I have raised, which I'd like to raise on your platform as well. Every time the government goes for an FTA negotiation, the same industry body will have two verticals, pushing the government into various corners. And Sanjay will join cause with this. Why? Because the minute textile comes to the discussion table, we'll have the auto sector say mat karo. So there has to be even meeting ground for various industrial houses, components, subcommittees to come together and see what is the best way forward for India.
And ultimately, as you said, ma'am, I think the large part of the burden lies on us as industry and us as consumers. If we have that pride in consuming Indian and, looking for Indian products, and we just don't feel that a foreign brand is what satisfies or gratifies our needs, that's when India will really move forward. We as manufacturers will look at 5% lower raw material cost vis-a-vis buying from an Indian manufacturer of the same product. I think that is the change that is really required from us as an industry and us as consumers.
I had this beautiful opportunity of speaking to Mr. Goenka from Mahindra.
Pavanji, yes.
Yes, and Pavanji told me this amazing experience he had in Japan. He said, we own a company in Japan, and we went and we told them that the raw material that you seek for one of your manufacturing units is cheaper from another company. And the Japanese said no. They said, if I take that raw material, I will kill that segment in my country.
It was actually a steel product. He shared the same story with me. It was about 20% cheaper to import it, I think either from China or Taiwan or somewhere. But the Japanese company refused. They said, we will only buy Japanese steel from Japanese company for our products, even if it's more expensive. So today, when we talk about India and China, the fact is that we have to look inside us and see that are we willing to forego 5% in terms of our gross margin just because we're going to buy from an Indian supplier, whether it's, you talked about combs, but the same would apply for even buttons. If I'm not wrong, buttons are getting imported.
Buttons and zips.
Everything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a clarion call that we can all.
मतलब हम मार्स में मिशन भेज सकते हैं, लेकिन कंघी नहीं बना सकते.
कंघी और बटन से बस पैसे सस्ते हो जाते हैं जैसे अल्लाह ने किया. But with those few, with that kind of setting the context for the rest of the evening, could I now request Rudra, our immediate past president, to come in with his intervention? Rudra, over to you.
Ma'am, good afternoon. I'm Rudra Chatterjee
Rudra.
from OPT. How are you, ma'am?
Good.
So with as you were mentioning about success stories in textile, the handmade and the machine-made carpet industry has been growing and doubling, taking away market share from China. China used to be the biggest supplier of carpets. India is now the biggest supplier of carpets. The total revenue for handmade carpets from India is now 10,000 crore. And more than 2 lakh people are employed, mostly as weavers. Couple of thoughts, ma'am. Number one is India is one of the few countries in the world where more than 95% of the weavers are men. I think there is an opportunity, and maybe the chamber and some carpet companies can come together and think of how women can be incentivized to weave. This is something that at OVT we have tried, as you probably recall, the Women Weaver program, where we were giving a stipend to train the women to weave for 6 months. But that is something that can be scaled. So that was one thought. The second thought, ma'am, is in carpets, obviously wool is a typical fiber, but now more and more sisal, hemp, seagrass, jute is not new, but it's increasing fast, are becoming the kind of products that go into the summer. And India has all of those: seagrass, sisal, hemp, and jute. But there are significant policies. Jute is okay. There can be little more maybe product development with jute, but with sisal, seagrass, and hemp, we find it very difficult to source it. And as an individual company, it is. So that was the second point. And the third point is for exports, and this is something as a carpet exporter I would just mention. The MEIS rate was reduced from 1st January. I think there was some thought that it would be replaced with something, but that hasn't happened. So we are actually going through this relatively difficult period with a lower MEIS rate than we've ever had. I just wanted to point that to your attention.
So firstly, Rudra, I think that the Jaipur rug story is also an encouraging story, because there the fact that the owner went down and spoke to women in the villages, I think that personal interaction had a huge impact.
Absolutely.
And I had the privilege of meeting the team at Jaipur Rugs as well. So I think apart from the fact that you're giving us stipend, a lot in our country is impacted by personal interaction. And I'm sure that you must be doing the same in OBT. And I'm in fact very grateful that you are encouraging more and more women to come in to weaving of carpets. I think that the pay parity aspect also has to be maintained.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes women are given that opportunity at lower pay, which you are obviously aware of.
Day one, ma'am.
The stipend aspect that you have propagated through your company is a welcome change. The fact that you can market it such, like Jaipur Rug does, is also another story, because you've had a stupendous marketing history with some of the brilliant designers we've had in our country. But maybe also you can give it a shot as far as women and weaving go. Now, in terms of your challenge with regards to sourcing of raw material, which is not a natural so-called well-known raw material for carpets, I'm more than happy to reach out to the specific department given your needs. If the need comes through from the Export Promotion Council of Carpets, it will make my case stronger. And insofar as the MEIS aspect goes, I'm sure that you're aware that we have WTO protocols and assurances to live up to. Given that we are a part of a global economy, we cannot disentangle ourselves from those international commitments. But I can only say this, that through commerce, we are looking at protecting interests of our local industry, especially given the Prime Minister's call for Atmanirbhar Bharat. But I think that the cause for celebration is, as you rightly said, that in the hand-knotted carpet segment, China has vacated a huge space which has been very quickly taken up by India. So I'm looking at the fact that post the pandemic, this is a segment where India's participation is just set to grow beyond 60%. Maybe we end up capturing up to 90% of the market in this particular segment.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Next, could I call on Mrs. Dia Jaiswal, President of Lady Study Group, ICC? Dia ma'am, are you there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, good evening, Smriti ji.
Hari boliye.
Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you.
Okay. Super. Good evening, Smriti ji. This is Dia Jaiswal from Ladies Study Group. And I don't know if you remember me, but I remember in 2013, I think it was the 17th of September, and you had come to Ladies Study Group in Calcutta as our speaker, and I had come to the airport to receive you. And we spent a lot of time together that day and shared a lot of conversations. And you inspired me so much with one particular thing that you said to me. And I want to share that today because that statement changed my life at that point. And I remember at that point, I had shared with you that, I mean, I was an entrepreneur, I was doing my work, and I had my 3 children. And you said that you were also busy with your kids and your work. And we were discussing women empowerment. And you had said that, that this is a field that we all need to work on. And I had mentioned that I wanted to study more on mental health and help women, but I didn't have any time because I had my hands full. And you made a statement to me and you said 24 hours, Dia, is plenty. And if you manage your time better, you can definitely fit this into. And I remember I was so impressed with that statement. I came home, I thought about it, I realigned my life completely, and I went back to studying, did 3 degrees in mental health over the next 3 years. And today I work as a woman empowerment coach. And I really believe it is because of our conversation that we had on the 17th of September in 2013. And so I want to say to you that you impacted my life so strongly. Who is the woman or man that has impacted your life and made changes in the way you look at life? An Indian and somebody overseas too.
See, dear, this is the problem with women. We always give credit to somebody else for what we do ourselves.
But you see, it's not about credit,
went
it's about
home.
showing the path,
No, you went home.
giving me
You
clarity
took your
and vision.
decision. You went home, you took your decision, you
I
studied,
did.
and now
I
you
did.
are where you
I
are.
did. I did.
One sentence doesn't change anything if the person doesn't have the resolve to change their lives.
That's very true. That's
You will
very
not
true.
find a single man on this platform who will attribute their success to one statement given by some woman. And I think women need to stop doing that. You are successful, you have made a life-changing decision because you chose to do it. You deserve the credit. So learn to enjoy it.
And since we're also speaking on women empowerment, I also believe very strongly that, we speak a lot about empowering women when they're 18 years old and we should focus on their education, or when they're 25 and we start talking about helping them out with their business loans. But I truly believe it's something we need to start right from the birth, right from.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with that?
And one of the greatest levelers the pandemic has gotten is that men have cooked in these 4 months.
Very true.
Men have swept floors.
Yes.
They have done the washing of the utensils, and they have also dusted around the house, thereby telling family and especially young boys
Yes.
that घर साफ करना, बर्तन मांजना, खाना पकाना सिर्फ औरतों का काम नहीं है.
And I also believe that the word, when we talk about women and we say we have to have this expenditure on them, I really believe it's an investment. I don't believe in the word expenditure. Do you
How
agree
come
with
we
that?
talk about expenditure on men?
Exactly. So I always believe it's in the word is investment actually.
But thank you. I'm glad that you've done well. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mayank, I have a lady, Manisha, who's asked a very pertinent question on textile parks all
Yes,
over the
ma'am.
country. Manisha Timkar. And
Yes.
I think that she's right. When the textile park proposal was moved under the UPA government, there was absolutely no role envisaged for some kind of significant contribution by the state governments to oversee the processes or oversee the functioning of textile parks. In fact, the point that she has raised is extremely pertinent. There are certain promoters who just try to take money from the subsidy bracket and run away with the taxpayers' money. There are many such parks that we have cancelled. Many parks which have capacity to function, we have informed state governments that they need to take onus to ensure that if they're looking at employment opportunities, these are the infrastructure realms within which they can do much and ensure that they, in fact, rest their authority on such parks and on such manufacturing units. Manisha's point is very well taken.
Yes, ma'am. I would also like to remind all the participants that as you have realized that if you write your questions in the chat or the Q&A section, the Honorable Minister will be able to pick them up and she'll be able
There
to
is
address
one
them.
about Swapnil and MSP hindering textile value chain. I need to tell Swapnil that in this country, the MSP operations is dedicated to ensuring that our farmers don't get hungry, that our farmers get value for their crop. And I think that when you talk about hindrances to textile companies, a lot needs to be said about how we need to better our manufacturing processes and become more competitive and not be so segregated. So I think it's absolutely unfair to blame the farmer for certain manufacturing processes that we can better within our own company structures.
Could I now, ma'am, actually, before we move on to again textiles, there's been a lot of conversation over the past 5 to 10 years about gender parity and gender equality in terms of the corporate world. And the conversation is that if we increase our gender parity by 10%, the GDP is likely to grow by another 4 or 5%. And it's critical for us to get to the $5 trillion economy eventually. So, ma'am, what do you think that we as business houses and we as a country need to do to increase
The
gender
law
parity?
already exists. The law already exists. The practice doesn't. And it is for the industry to embrace that law and ensure it is practiced. And my appeal to the industry is that most of the industry representatives come out with full vigor on the 8th of March, celebrating
Wednesday.
their dedicated approach towards women's empowerment. They don't need to do that on the 8th of March. They just need to make sure that on the basis of competition and talent, women are employed and paid equal to men. That can be their tribute.
Absolutely.
And not 8th of March, pita cutting.
Couldn't agree with you more on there. Sanjay ji, I think now I can hand it over to you for textile specific questions. I think the first intervention was by Mr. Dalmia of Abhash Experiments.
Mayank ji, I think Mrs. Ma'am has already covered the same. So let me not get into it. Yeah.
Next, I think is Mr. Ajit Lakra. I hand it over to you, Sanjay, that you're having some connection issues.
Can you listen to me?
See you also.
Yes.
अपने अपना कैमरा भी ऑफ कर
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am.
जी
You know, I am representing the knitters and the garment industry of Ludhiana, which mostly into the MSME sector. So I don't want to go into the details. Market situation. ये mute तो नहीं है. Can you hear
मैं
me?
नहीं सुन पा रहा अजीत जी बोलिए
Okay.
We can hear you.
So I want to be very briefly, I want to tell you that the garment industry, because of the low retail sale, the conditions are very bad because of 2-3 reasons. You know, the pandemic, started in the mid of our summer season. And lot of summer goods were held up, and most of the corporate buyers and brands, they have not picked up the goods even after the opening of the lockdown. That means our lot of funds are blocked in that, and because of apprehension in the winter season, they have placed very small orders, not very big orders. So the units are not running more than 30 to 40% capacity. So financially, we very badly held up, and the corporate buyers, I'm sure they are also impacted because of pandemic, but because maybe 100 big buyers, there are thousands of units in Ludhiana who are financially very badly affected, and they are not paying, they are not picking up goods, and they are not even caring of the MSME Act of paying them in 45 days. So I request you to talk to the MSME industry or the finance ministry to see that how those
If I
100
can get
people.
a representation from you on the same, I will forward it immediately and have a word with Nitin Gadkari.
That is very important because, and secondly, same connected with this, the government was very kind in giving the moratorium of, the interest and EMIs that is ending in 31st of August. But during these 2-3 months, the business had been very poor, and the EMIs and interest can only be paid out of the profits which we are not making at all. So I would to recommend to the finance ministry that this moratorium should be extended up to 31st of March 2022 21, so that the revival could be more convenient and easy. Otherwise, the many units
cannot make a commitment on behalf of finance ministry. I can only assure you this.
I'm not saying that. I am requesting, recommend to
I can only forward your appeal. That I will do. And like I said, the MSME aspect, please send it to me. We will forward it to MSME, and I'll personally have.
Ma'am, I will mail it to you in a day or two. Now, another question. Although Mr. Sajjan has taken up the tough issue, but there are 2-3 issues which can be easily resolved. Number one, during the pandemic, a lot of lapses happened because of the last dates of some of the people could not submit the papers. The dates were, expired. So those units should be given another chance to submit those.
I beg to differ on this aspect. We have time and again extended deadlines for the industry. The industry needs to be responsible enough to fulfill their own obligations within that deadline.
Most of the people have, ma'am, done. There are some of the units.
Those who could not follow the deadline, sir, I can't make an exception under law for few people. It was incumbent upon people to apply for a subsidy in a given time frame. If people chose to not follow that time frame, for a few people, sir, I cannot disrupt the entire system.
Okay, my next question is this.
It would not be fair to people who were disciplined enough to fulfill their paperwork.
Okay, ma'am. Second point is in the garment machinery, there was an issue of serial number which has been already sorted out, but there's still a point of year of manufacture which was not a practice to write on the machine. This has not yet been resolved. And at this point for the tough.
I'll have it. आप मुझे भेज दीजिए. I'll see the legal implication of it. Because please again be aware, there are a lot of people, and I have evidence to say this, have misused this lapse by getting second-hand machines inside and showing it.
I agree with you, but due to a few people, most of the genuine importers, they are suffering. That's my point. I am not advocating for those.
Intelligence, we can find a way, but I'm grateful that you agree that people have misused it.
Maybe a few of them, not all. The majority of them are genuine. And there is a last point, ma'am. The registration of suppliers, it had been a very difficult process. If it can be made online, that would help the suppliers to get registered online. This kindly, if you can pass on the instructions. That's my point, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lakra ji. Can we move to, I would request Vimal Jain from Bellary to kindly make his point. Request everyone to keep it short and to the point. Vimal ji. Hello, Vimal Jain. Okay, we'll meantime move to the next question. Sachin Kotecha from Coimbatore. Sachin ji, please quickly your point. I think so people are facing a problem. Whoever we have then Prashant Sangvi from Jalna, Khandesh, Maharashtra.
Sandesh. Hello.
हाँ बोलिए
madam.
प्रशांत जी.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
please?
we can hear you. बोलिए.
Yeah, madam. I have one suggestion that our Indian textile industry is suffering losses due to our MSP policy of the cotton and intervention of CCI in cotton purchase. CCI cotton purchase about 30% farmers and claiming a loss of approximately 12,000 crore as per Mr. Agrawal of CCI. If this money is transferred directly to the farmer, that is total sowing of around 1.20 lakh hectares of the land.
Your
yeah,
position is
madam.
factually incorrect. CCI this season has done
Yeah.
MSP operations for 20 lakh farmers.
So they are done for
And
20
given
lakh
farmers-
farmers, and their 1.20 crore farmers are there. 1.20
MSP operations, Prashantji, come into action when the market does not give value to the farmer's produce. So any
Madam,
farmer, I'm not getting into an argument. I will only
no,
say
we
this,
have
that
no
20
problem
lakh
with the MSP. We
Ji,
don't have the
ji.
problem with the MSP. We want to say that without giving opportunity to CCI, this money or this loss will be if directly transferred to the farmers, this whole chain will remain economically
the loss
viable.
incurred, Prashantji, is on bank loan and interest.
Yeah. So everybody will be viable if.
I'm grateful for your advice. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's move
one more thing,
प्रशांत जी,
madam.
ठीक है.
Yeah. Okay.
प्रशांत जी, it's okay if you have any other suggestion.
प्रशांत
कोई
जी,
point है क्या?
हाँ, मुझे ये बोलना था मैडम कि जो लॉस 12,000 करोड़ रुपीस का या अप्रोक्सीमेट जो भी होगा, दैट इज टू द 30% ऑफ फार्मर्स which are producing the cotton. If this 12,000 crore will be transferred for infrastructure to the farmer,
आपको कुछ और भी बोलना था?
प्रशांत जी, ये पॉइंट हो गया है. और कोई पॉइंट है?
प्रशांत जी,
one more point is that the
प्रशांत जी, हमारा निर्णय ये है कि आप 20 लाख फार्मर्स को अगर ज्यादा नहीं गिनते हैं, तो मेरा ये मत है कि एक भी फार्मर का नुकसान ना हो. ये हमारा प्रयास है.
हम हर फार्मर को गिन रहे मैडम. व्हाट वी से that this amount directly transfers.
क्या कह रहे हैं?
हाँ,
प्रशांत, और कोई पॉइंट है तो बोलिए.
क्या करके इंडस्ट्री का फायदा नहीं कर सकती. थैंक यू प्रशांत.
one more point that this.
Prashant ji, please let others speak. Mr. Uday Agarwal. Uday ji, are you there?
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, please, quickly. Yeah.
Namaste, madam.
We can hear you.
I just bring to your attention a specific situation where ear manufacturing on sewing machine is done away by the guideline from 2nd August 2018. But it has been not accepted for any investment before that. Means those who are under 2016 guideline, they have been ineligible for the tough subsidy, whereas after August, it has been accepted. Because year of manufacturing is not mentioned on sewing machine anywhere, anytime.
जैसे लाकड़ा जी ने अपना विषय रखा था, अब भी इस विषय को चेंबर की ओर से लिखित में मुझे भेज दीजिए.
ठीक है मैडम. और एक छोटा सा
एक
छोटा सा बात था कि जैसे गारमेंट सेक्टर इज अंडर ट्रिमेंडस स्ट्रेस राइट नाउ, और गवर्नमेंट हैज बीन काइंड एनफ टू गिव टू एंटायर MSME, as garment sector is mostly in the MSME, a 20% emergency funding. So there is small two suggestions. One is that eligibility is outstanding on 29th February, which is becoming uncertain. Somebody may be having that some payment inside in the limit, so limit goes down that particular day. Whereas it should be based on the working capital, sanctioned working capital as on 29th February, which will be more appropriate because the assessment of requirement is based.
ये विषय फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री का है.
यस मैम.
ये विषय फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री का है. आप जब लिखित में भेजेंगे तो मैं फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री को उनके सम्मुख प्रस्तुत कर दूंगी.
प्लीज मैडम. और अगर 20% की जगह गारमेंट सेक्टर को एटलीस्ट 50% दिया जाए ताकि वो लोग कर पाए.
उदय जी आपने लिख के
में रहकर बोल रही हूँ.
हाँ हाँ अच्छा
मैडम
तो
ये
क्वेश्चन
ये स्ट्रेस से बाहर आने के लिए आपका सपोर्ट गवर्नमेंट तो माई बाप है। अगर ये चाहेगी तो ये बहुत कुछ हो सकता है। अभी भी आपका 3 लाख करोड़ में मैडम
इस
1.25
देश
लाख
में
करोड़ ही
माँ
यूज
बाप
हुआ है।
नागरिक है, गवर्नमेंट नहीं है।
अच्छा लेट्स उदय जी
थैंक यू मैडम, थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू।
Evening, ma'am. Namaste. Ma'am, I'm Srinushi from Parikala Industries, Calcutta. I'm very happy with the way the current government is working so transparently throughout all sectors, be it policies or communication. And personally, I really adore you, ma'am. So my question is on transparency here. Ma'am, these days everybody knows about phishing and internet scams. And
please keep yourself on mute.
Please, everybody keep yourself on mute apart from the speaker.
Everyone stay on mute, please.
I think Sushil Sanjeti ji has to put himself on mute.
सुशील जी अभी आपका नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है, प्लीज एक बार म्यूट पर रहिए. शिरोशी, sorry, continue.
And this has to be the last question, Sanjay.
One more, ma'am, after this. एक और ma'am इसके बाद.
Just so continuing to this, somebody posing from the Textile Commissioner's office in Calcutta contacted me on my mobile number, asking me for the company's financial data for March to May, and how many PPE kits have we made, and what is the total turnaround for that period. So, ma'am, I am an employee of a company, and as per the company's policy, I requested the person to send me an email regarding this, because sending financial data on WhatsApp is against the system for the government as well as for any private company.
No textile officer has been told to contact any industry person to get any financial data.
Ma'am, ma'am, in fact, I wrote an email to you, and I have sent screenshots to the communication that I had on.
I don't know what email ID you have written to me, because the 2 email IDs that I access every day, I do not have any email from you. What you can do is, Sanjay ji,
हाँ ma'am,
take this detail and send
yes,
it to
I'll do that.
I'll inform him right away.
Very important point, ma'am. I'm sorry, very important, ma'am. Very important point. When I declined to give any information on WhatsApp, he mentioned your company's Tufts claim would be impacted. Ma'am, these days it is very tough to get Tufts claim.
Please give us the name and number from which you received the call. There is no such direction given. The officer will be disciplined and suspended.
Shiroshi, you share with me. I'll forward it, and I'll also just speak to the Textile Commissioner Calcutta in charge also once I get the details from you. Can we have Sushil Sancheti? Sushil Sancheti, very quickly, please.
Yeah. Good evening, Honorable Ma'am. I thank you and thank the government for the Atmanirbhar package. I have just one question. If you could put up to the Finance Ministry for restructuring of one-time restructuring for all the corporate borrowers, not only for MSMEs. And also, I would thank you for the encouraging words for trying to include yarn and fabrics under RODTEP. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I can only say this much. Everybody needs to recognize that in a country of 1.3 billion plus people, for the first time in the history of our nation, which has seen many challenges before, the government is giving ration for 80 crore citizens free till the month of November. The government for 3 months gave 20 crore women direct transfer of cash into their accounts. The government has successively given free LPG cylinders to all poor families, 20 crore plus. Please recognize that in challenging times, while the government through the Atmanirbhar Bharat package has announced industry support, we have simultaneously ensured that 80 crore citizens get fed with free food grains. There has to be, I'm sure, an understanding of the fiscal balance that this government is doing given the challenge. As Textiles Minister, what I'm extremely proud of that we are the only industry in the entire world which, in a pandemic lockdown situation, created an industry which is today valued at 10,000 plus crore rupees in just 2 months, which is a first for any economy in the world. So with that sense of gratitude, I'm grateful that the chamber today invited me to speak. I look forward to the inputs from Ajit ji, from Uday ji, so I can forward it. I would also request Sanjay Shiosi, and I'm extremely concerned about the call that she got. I will ensure that action is taken. I am going to inform the textile secretary immediately, and you shall receive a call within the next 10-15 minutes about this particular proposition that one member on your platform today faced. Nobody's tough scheme or tough proposals is going to be affected if you don't make disclosures of financial data on phone. Please do not encourage such conversations. The very fact that you did not get it in writing means something is amiss. We will track down this individual and take action.
Ma'am, thank you so much. Just before we ask Vikash, our Senior Vice President, to propose a formal vote of thanks, I just want to say to the entire audience is these are tough times, and it's only during tough times that we actually find out what metal we are made of. The last 4 months, the way that the government of India, state governments, and we as industry bodies have been working together to see that the pain is as less as possible, it is unprecedented. Unprecedented times have called for unprecedented measures, and there are a lot of things that we can keep asking for. And trust me, whether it is one-time restructuring, whether it's the extension of the moratorium, the government is actively working on that, and the chambers are actively representing on that. We do not know the extent of the pandemic and how long it's going to be. It is not very easy to come up with these
I'm
long...
only hopeful, ma'am, that this partnership that we see between Indians, be it Indians in government or Indians in industry, is a partnership that outlasts the pandemic.
Oh, it
Because
absolutely.
this partnership
Absolutely.
between every Indian, be it in an industry body or an NGO that runs kitchens to feed the needy, I think it's this partnership that has helped us recover better from the pandemic. It is this sense of responsibility towards each other that has helped a 1.3 billion plus population rise to the occasion.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, ma'am.
And I can only tell you that when the Prime Minister addressed our chamber approximately a month back, every single entrepreneur in the East who's part of our chamber is now only thinking about, self-reliant India. And he was 1.3 billion Indians come together and decide that we're going to become Atmanirbhar. There is no force in the world which can stop us from getting there. And a $5 trillion economy and a $10 trillion economy ahead of that. With those few words, thank you again, ma'am, and handing it over to Vikash for the formal vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It was very engaging and enriching interaction with our honorable chief guest, Srimati Smriti Zubin Irani ji today. I extend my sincere thanks to our honorable minister for being with us and enlightening us with her deep insight. Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable time. Your insights on scaling up the Indian textile industry and allied businesses is extremely valuable and focused, especially when all of us are slowly recovering from the onslaught of COVID-19. Your considerate observations and rational approach to solving problems is truly unparalleled. We are confident that our textile industry, by collaborating closely with the government and with its regular support and guidance, will boost the economy with higher revenues and more employment opportunities to become one of the leading textile exporters of the world. With these words, thank you once again, Smriti ji, for your valuable time and great insights. And thank you to all the members for your participation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.